Each day, the president of Russia doesn't travel alone, doesn't carry an unencrypted cell phone, doesn't consume chemically unverified food, and doesn't step foot inside a room where the air isn't filtered for biological contamination. Over the course of more than 20 years, foreign espionage organizations, domestic dissidents, and insurgent groups have all raised the exact same question. How does one neutralize a head of state who has turned the military apparatus of his entire nation into his own personal bodyguard? In order to understand why it is practically impossible from a structural standpoint to carry out a decapitation of Vladimir Putin, you can't consider the role of chance. This psychological basis of this citadel was not developed in Moscow. It was established in December 1989 in Dresden, East Germany. With the Berlin Wall falling around him, a crowd filled with rage formed at the KGB HQ in the area. Within the office, Lieutenant Colonel Vladimir Putin was burning classified intelligence papers in a furnace until it exploded. He tried to call for backup from a tank battalion of the Soviet Army, but the answer he got would change his life forever. Moscow is silent. This one defining point created an undeniable geopolitical principle of operation. Do not trust the crowd. Do not trust a single command chain, and do not let yourself be physically protected by any organization that you cannot control. At the center of Putin's physical protection sits the FSO, the Federal Protective Service, a shadow army of roughly 50,000 elite operatives answering solely to the president, operating across 4 concentric rings. Ring 1, the Musketeers. These are plainclothes bodyguards armed with 9mm Gurza pistols capable of punching through body armor at 50 meters. They carry bulletproof Kevlar shield briefcases and stand within touching distance. Ring 2, the crowd infiltrators. Plainclothes surveillance squads blended into audiences, scanning eye movements, body language, and concealed profiles. Ring 3, perimeter and counter surveillance. Snipers on roofs, tactical drone jammers, and heavy assault units stationed behind closed doors. Ring 4, the armored phalanx. A mobile convoy featuring anti-drone electronic warfare vans, surface-to-air missile support vehicles, and identical decoy limousines running randomized routes. Historically, authoritarian leaders are rarely killed by lone snipers or foreign commandos. They are removed from the inside. To eliminate this vulnerability, the Kremlin runs on a deliberate system of institutional paranoia known as coup-proofing. The military, the Internal Security Service, FSB, Foreign Intelligence, SVR, and the private presidential guard do not collaborate. They actively spy on one another. In 2016, Putin created Rosgvardia, a separate internal army numbering over 300,000 soldiers commanded not by the Ministry of Defense, but by his former personal bodyguard, Viktor Zolotov. When Yevgeny Prigozhin launched the Wagner mutiny in June 2023, marching within 200 kilometers of Moscow, the world thought the armor had fractured. But the coup imploded before it reached the capital, not because of military battles, but because the overlapping intelligence webs isolated the rebellion politically and logistically within hours. Physical protection is just one half of the design. Digital and biological protocols are where today's government's paranoia gets into science fiction territory. The communications blackout. The Russian president is known not to use his phone at all. All communications go through encrypted phone lines, physically delivered communications, and even Soviet typewriters to avoid any foreign cyber exploitation. The ghost train. Transportation inside Russia is done through a stealth train that resembles ordinary passenger trains in order to bypass orbital tracking schedule by satellites. the biological bubble. Meals are prepared only by the FSO staff and undergo tests in mobile labs for biological contaminants, heavy metals, and radiation before they can be served. Even the waste products from the foreign trips are collected to ensure that no foreign agency has any information about his health. The irony of building an impenetrable fortress is that the very walls designed to keep threats out end up sealing reality off from the inside. By constructing a security apparatus where loyalty is prioritized over objective truth, and where information must pass through multiple layers of paranoid vetting, the leader risks receiving an echo chamber view of the outside world. Putin has made himself virtually impossible to eliminate through external force or sudden coups. But in doing so, he has created an institutional trap, a system entirely reliant on one individual with no clear succession mechanism and no institutional exit strategy. The fortress holds, but historically, the most dangerous threat to any fortress isn't the army outside its gates. It's what happens when the architecture outlives its creator.